You're listening to The Angry Designer, where we cut through the industry bull to help frustrated graphic designers survive and thrive.
Welcome back, everybody, to part 2 of our interview with the one and only Mr. James Barnard, our friend from down under, who's kind of an expat from the UK and now in Australia and just, having a hell of a old time out there, doing logos and hanging out with kangaroos. So, last week's episode, if you didn't see it, I don't know what you're doing here, hey, how are you? But now stop, go back to episode number 1 and press play and listen there, because you know what? We talked about some amazing things. We talked about his journey, his life, living through COVID, and, of course, how social media has completely transformed his business, his life. So this episode is going to be much more the same and then some, opinions. And of course, we always end off with our awesome fire question round at the very end, 2 minutes, and just kind of bombard them with just a bunch of questions, okay? So you really know who we're dealing with. So please sit back, grab yourself a drink, whether it's coffee, whether it's bourbon, whether it's whatever, and enjoy this part 2 of our awesome conversation with the one and only Mr. James Barnard. Okay, so now Adobe. So this is going to be kind of like your sugar daddy for a little while. Yet, here totally. They are. You touched on AI, which is obviously a huge topic for all of us. Mm-hmm. I'm loving the AI train, but I'm seeing the future and I'm adjusting to accommodate. Do you think being I do logos, right, which I think is fantastic. Yeah. Do you think that's at risk with AI and at the pace that it's actually going?
It is scary, isn't it? Yeah. Like, I'm a big advocate, like I'm sure you guys are as well, that AI is a tool to help us rather than destroy jobs. Right. And I get that question all the time. Are you scared that your job's going to be taken by a logo designer? From what I'm seeing, it sucks at concepts, right? It can't do the kind of abstract thinking behind what it takes to create a meaningful logo. Mm-hmm. And for now, I think we're kind of safe. Like, for the prompts that I'm putting into AI, and you try and spit out a logo just to see what it can do, and it's woeful, like unbelievably
so bad.
Yeah. So that kind of gives me a little bit of hope. But if AI gets to the point where it can think abstractly and work that into graphic design and then spit out a clean vector, we were really off fucked. Yeah. I keep saying to people, just keep a beady eye on it, and we will always get better results than civilians. Do you know what I mean? Like non-graphic designers working with AI. It's our tool. It's for us to use. Correct. And if a client can get what they want out of it, then fair play to them. Go do that. But I don't think we're going to be in a position where clients are like, graphic design is dead. And then all of a sudden, everybody's AI images look the same, like the Motti statue, and that's all the sort of creative output will be, clouds above everything, and interstellar pictures that are really sort of airy fairy and kind of fairy tale looking. It's all going to look the same. So yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Like, I still think it's a tool that's gonna help us, and I'm trying to stay positive.
Yeah. Well, what you said something that's actually quite brilliant. Which was the whole idea that, we're always going to get better results than regular people will. Prior to the computer, everybody had access to pens, paper, pencils, rulers. They could have easily drawn a logo, but they went to a designer to use their tools. Same with the Mac, right? I mean, my kids have got access to Macs. They've had it since they've been born, but it doesn't mean that they can jump in and create a logo. So same with, AI. I am seeing customers being more open to hiring people who openly use AI. One of our customers actually hired a copywriter who outright, on his blog, on his website says, I am an AI prompt expert, copywriter, and he uses as part of the process. And we're using it on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. And I mean, again, not to mention what Adobe is dishing out, like with their whole tool set, right? Firefly is ridiculous. What, and it's still in beta. When they nail that, I mean, digital artists they're gonna suffer a little bit, and they can use it as a tool. But you see, the production time is gonna, come down. Like, you're not gonna need the same production artists like you do right now, right?
Right. But have you talked about the legal aspect of it all? Because the artwork and the copy that AI generates is open source still, right? Like you can't copyright it
No.
because you didn't write it. So trademarking things like slogans or the things that are generated by AI, you can't do.
Yeah.
Similar with the imagery, you can't copyright an AI generated image, I don't think. So it's interesting there that may save the logo design world until the legal side of things changes on it. But if it's generated by something that is open source, then the actual final product is also open source.
Is also going to
so
be open source.
You don't own it.
Well, and you know what? And this the legalities part. Well, there's the legalities, and then there's the whole ethics part of this as well. But the legality side, I've always had an issue with in our space because like when you get someone like, Mark Zuckerberg proved it that he switched the company's name to Meta and pretty much ripped off another logo. And they tried to have a court battle, but it was futile. You couldn't defend against someone like this. And you've seen this time and time and time again. And I think this is a heavy topic for designers because a lot of people, they're really hard on trademarking and copywriting and this and that. But in the end, if somebody wants to take your work, I almost feel like it's going to happen regardless. So you're better off to just kind of, I don't want to say accept it, but accept the fact that, it's
a futile battle.
It is a futile battle no matter what. And I don't think that, AI is not slowing down and they're just going to find ways to get around it.
Yeah. There's another side of the flip side of that, where could AI be useful in that sense, in that it can help us sort of plagiarism check work, right? So this is something that I constantly come up against in logo design, is that logo design is meant to be reductive, and by creating simple and abstract concepts, you unintentionally copy people's work all the time. It happens way more than people think, and they're like, "Well, you just copied that." I was like, "No, I came up with that idea completely originally. I just happened to be so simple that somebody else has already done it." And so one of the sort of processes I put in place is logo and reverse image searching to check to see if it's been done before. Could AI help us do that and actually be a tool to help us create sort of unique and work that hasn't been done before? Because it's amazing, spitting out concepts, but could it be sort of reused in reverse to kind of help us defeat that and once and for all help striving designers that really get fucked over by big companies that just steal their work and they can't do anything about it? Could AI help us prove, who did it first?
Yeah, absolutely. You've got something there. Especially once it's opened up to the world, able to search the web and search for, documentation and history and everything. How far back does that go? I still question because. The Airbnb logo is, I've got a logo modernism book that shows a 50-year-old version of that exact logo. Yeah. So again, it kind of goes back to, are the days gone where, a logo designer can, say, I charged $1 million for this logo and it's mine and I own it and it's original. Are we there or do things have to change for designers and we may have to accept this?
It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like a rite of passage being copied as a graphic designer. Once your work gets stolen, it's like, I've made it. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm big enough that people are starting to steal my shit. And I speak to a guy called Von Glitschka about this. He's a renowned graphic designer, illustrator, and he has a course on copyright protecting your work and all the steps you put in place. And it's amazing, but also at the same time, while I was watching it, I was like, this is fucking labor intensive. The shit I've got to do. Am I going to do this with every idea that I create? I have to basically trademark it and send it into the local authorities to prove that I did it first. It's a fucking huge ordeal. The simple fact of the matter is that once your pen is off the paper, that work is yours. And so, this whole anti sort of plagiarism thing, when your pen is off the paper but it happens to look like the Nike swoosh, do you still own it? That's a big question. So it's quite interesting. This is you could go into
forever
sort of rabbit hole of arguments about this, but it is quite depressing having that part of the sort of graphic design space is reverse image checking and checking people haven't stolen stuff from you and chasing that up and policing it. It's a whole job. I talked to James Martin about this. I spotted one of his logos on Pinterest, his MJ, a monogram logo that he uses. And he comes back to me and goes, look, dude, if I have to chase down all of this stuff, I wouldn't sleep at night. It'd be a full-time job for me to look this kind of stuff up. So let's just leave it there.
I remember Alan Peters when we talked to him.
Was it Fireside
Pizza? And that guy said,
I heard about that.
It has been, and it's funny because I found it in an hour away from here in Mississauga. And I was just like, I was like, Alan, do you know this? Do you want me to go and beat this guy up? And he's like, dude, he goes, you have no idea how many times that has been stolen. I mean, once it's online, although you own it, it's like free to the world. And try to police that. It's almost like you said, it's almost not worth the effort. And it's just kind of take it as flattery, move on. You've been paid for the first version. If other people want to, rip it off,
Yeah. That's another thing about sort of sharing your work online as well. And especially with my stuff, because I share the process, I'm sharing ideas that weren't used. And then someone could totally take that idea because it's definitely not being used for a client. But I have a line in my T's and C's that's like any unused or, sketches and ideas and concepts remain mine. So with a client, I'm kind of protected. But once it's out in the world and people see that concept has not been used, then boom, someone can take it for their own.
Again, not everybody's got ethics when it comes to this kind of stuff, right?
This is true.
So, so going to logos. So we have two very different approaches with logos, right? And again, you went up in a couple of weeks ago saying that you were going with this single logo concept, right? You're giving customers one logo, and is it worth the effort to do all the different variations and such? How's that working for you?
It's absolutely fucking amazing. Sorry to say. Okay. So I've talked to Alan Peters about this. I've talked to you guys, and I know how many concepts you guys present. I know how many Alan presents, like 9, I think it is, or 9 or 15 sketches.
Yeah, he's at 15.
Yeah. And I've talked to him about it because he's going to be talking about that in his book, about his whole process. And I originally was doing 3 for a client, so I present them, and these are like 3 completely worked up, fully kind of
ready to go,
mocked up in Photoshop mock-ups, colored, the whole shebang.
Colored,
I was doing that for clients. Yeah,
and you present that first round.
Wow.
I do.
Okay.
So the process with me is like I do my logo discovery with the clients, and we agree on a set of like concepts beforehand, kind of. So it's sort of, I do now anyway. I didn't used to, and it was an absolute disaster. But agree on a set of concepts. So I actually kind of. I'm so terrible at sketching and actually doing the concepts in sort of black and white that I need to go into the software to pretty it up. Otherwise, it's like, what are we paying this guy for? He's awful. He can't draw. So I really feel like I need to kind of go into Illustrator and to Photoshop and make that beautiful presentation. And originally, I found that was actually working really well. The problem was that I was spending so long on a second concept that I knew was second best to the first one, and spending days just coming up with a second or a third idea because I told the client I would.
Yes.
Whereas I've got this first idea that I know is amazing and is killer, and I want them to pick this logo. Why am I showing them 2 other ones? And so there's loads of schools of thought on this. I spoke with 5 or 6 other designers who do exactly this, and they only present one concept with an amazing discovery phase. And it's just worked wonders because the sort of the time that I can get clients through the door now has just doubled because I'm now creating one concept instead of 2. So yeah, it's insane. Kind of wish I'd done it sooner.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like I had to get a bit of more of a reputation as a logo designer in order to pull that off.
Yes.
Because it's all being well saying I'm only giving you one because I'm amazing, but if you don't have a portfolio behind you, that kind of concept doesn't hold up.
Not just the portfolio.
So
do you think your online credibility, because you're kind of a celebrity designer now, like you are up in the same ranks as the people. Stop.
No.
But I mean, you are on the same level as the other guys. So does that make a difference? Because 5 years ago, prior to all this, how do you think a customer would have reacted to that?
Yeah, not so great. Not so great.
Yeah.
It is a bit like I've got a bit of a kind of it's like a double-edged sword because I obviously I'm getting more clients through the door because of the social media, and it's all working really well. I'm wondering whether they're just doing that because of bragging rights, like you were saying before. Like, we got to work with this guy. Like, imagine getting a logo from Aaron Draplin. You wouldn't give a shit if he came back with a shit design. You would not tell him, would you? Like,
good point.
He's such a hero.
Absolutely.
Okay, like if he came back with an absolute dog shit logo, you'd be like, "Yep, I love it."
Yeah.
And you'd have to display it proudly and say this is designed by Aaron Draplin. And like, so yeah, a lot of it is social proof. And I worry sometimes that by I've got to this point now where I've got a bit of a following, and are people coming to me for logos just for the fact of saying I got a logo by this guy? And and with me as well, it also comes with a case study video, which is sometimes a huge kicker when it comes to like launching a company. All of a sudden, if one of those goes viral, that's a good bit of PR for your business. So
Yeah.
thinking about charging for those.
Yeah. But wait, this probably adds a whole new level of new pressure though as well, because now, because you've got all the social proof, you've got this following, you are, kind of in that, graphic design celebrity status. Do you feel like now you have to deliver a top quality? Because there's going to be days where it's not jiving. You're not feeling it.
Yeah.
So what is that like?
That's kind of good though, right? Because all the while I'm thinking in the back of my head, fucking hell, I have to share this with 300,000 plus people.
Yeah.
This better be bloody good. And it's like a it's like a hovering art director, isn't it?
Totally
Having that idea in the back of your head. No, you better nail this because it's going to go in front of a lot of people. And it's kind of like kicks me up the arse a little bit. Saying that though, I've had work just fucking taken to shreds online. People sometimes will just hate the work that I've done.
No way.
I did one recently. I won't say the name of the client, but people started spotting things in the design that I hadn't spotted.
Yeah.
And it's one of the problems when you work as a freelancer is that you work in isolation and you can't kind of share the work because it's for a client and it's kind of under an NDA or whatever. You only get to hear people's feedback other than the clients when it's out in the real world. And when someone says it looks like a bikini, and you're like, oh fucking hell, it does. Didn't spot that. So yeah, that's kind of that's a really nerve-wracking thing. Was when I first launched a logo project. I also say this to my clients is like, okay, not everyone is going to like this when it goes out into the real world. I kind of manage their expectations. Like change is hard for people. It's going to feel jarring to new people who are seeing it for the first time. Some people are going to react negatively. You need to be ready emotionally for that because it's going to hurt. And we've worked really hard on this design. And that's one thing to remember is that you and I have been through this process. We know it hits the mark in terms of the meaning behind your company and the ethos of your brand. And unfortunately, some people are just not going to like it. And there's nothing you can do about that. So just be ready for that kind of emotionally. And I find that helps, just kind of managing the expectations and sort of, handling their emotions a bit before we launch a project, because it's hard to take negative feedback. It never gets easier the older you get as a designer. I've been in this industry for nearly 15 years, and it still hurts when someone says they don't like my designs because it's a part of you. Like it's like it's your baby. It's like you've made it. Yeah. Creativity is like you're everything that you've done towards it is it's part of you. So it's really tough when people don't like it. So it never gets easier.
Never gets easier. Wow. Have you had any like customers just outright hate your stuff and just be like, the hell with you, like this is horrible?
Okay, yeah. Like as soon as like maybe like 2 years ago, I had a client fire me. Okay, and forego about £3,000 of deposit in order to not work with me anymore. Wow. All right. This is so fucked up. Okay, it was one of the lowest parts.
Wow, dude, that's okay.
Yeah, of my design career. Okay, this is before the sort of the social media kind of thing kicked off. Okay. I had a client work in the software space. We went through 3 rounds of logos. He didn't like any of them. I did 2 more. He didn't like either of those. I got to the point where we were like, right, before we go any further on this, we need a definitive concept that is set in stone now. There's no kind of wiggle room. You've run out of budget in terms of like what you're going to get from me. If we're going to get this project over the line, you need to basically hold my hand because I don't know what you want anymore. Yeah. He went, okay, it's lovely working with you. I'm going to go with somebody else. I was like, fuck me. And he was like, I'm happy to let that deposit go. And by that point, I've done more work than the deposit was worth. So I was like, Jesus Christ. It was awful. Like it took me like weeks to kind of recover from it. It was a really kind of like low moment. But I had to kind of accept the fact that it was my fault, right? I didn't ask the right questions in the briefing process. Maybe the client was a little bit belligerent and just kind of had their mind made up, and I wasn't sort of, creating work that they were looking for. But I didn't ask the right questions in the briefing process. I didn't have my process nailed down yet, and I didn't extract what I needed to from the client. What ended up happening was, I took one of the rejected ideas from that design and entered it into the logo lounge book, and it got in. And it's they liked it so much that it's on the fucking cover of the book. It's this one right here, and it's this one in neon behind me. Yeah. Right?
How are they not into that?
That's one of the logos.
Okay.
Well, because it wasn't right for their company, and then they were probably right to reject it. It's a cool logo for those listening online. It's two E's extruded, and the space between them is a lightning bolt between the space. Brilliant. What ended up happening was that logo got into that book, and then my TikTok video went viral talking about that, and then people started messaging me going, can I have that logo if it's a rejected design logo? Can I have it? And then so many people messaged me. I was like, right, well, I'll just put it out. Like, if you want it, just send me a quick proposal and we'll have a chat. And I ended up giving it away to an electrician in England for a company called Engage Electrical, the two E's with a lightning bolt in the negative space.
That's good for you, man.
And she uses it across all of her, on a side of her van. And like, she's amazing. She's like an advocate of like, helping women who are sufferers of domestic violence gain the trades to go out on their own and become plumbers and electricians, and it's just such a cool company.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm not going to charge for this. You can just have it. And,
good for you.
Yeah, cool story. And that's why I've got it in neon.
Yeah,
so
right. It's funny. So your low point ended up being your high point.
Being a
huge win. Absolutely.
Right. All right. Yeah. Good. So might we say maybe award win?
Nice
segue. It is. Multiple award winning.
Multiple. Yes. James is an award winning designer, Sean.
Not sure how we feel about that.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Put up your dukes.
This is where the podcast gets ugly.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got my finger held on the hang up button right now. Here we go.
So besides bragging rights and razzing rights, because again we have some strong opinions on this. I mean, we as an agency we just don't. We want to make sure obviously our train of thought is in the right direction. And I know some agencies abuse that. They are completely the opposite.
Yes.
They are driven to win awards. The awards come before the client work. So you can't always say. So of course we have a pretty strong opinion when it comes to, and that's fine. It's an opinion. It's not right or wrong. You're completely the opposite, right? In the sense that not that you're submitting everything to awards, but you do, like you put it out there that you're an award-winning designer. So
I do.
So
okay.
How's that work out?
So I am with you. Okay, I promise. Like with the agency side of things, I've been on that side. Creating work that has nothing to do with clients, that is just made to make awards. I've done it. I've been part of the agency space and worked there. It's ridiculous. Yeah. The awards that I enter are there aren't many because they are freelancer specific. Okay, they're awards designed for freelancers, and it's only client work that I'm showing. I'm not creating anything that I haven't done for a client.
Yes.
And so also they're bloody cheap. I'm not spending huge amounts of money. Some of them are insane.
Yeah, they are.
The amount of money that you have to spend. I've got a rule: if it's any more than like $50, I won't do it.
Yeah.
So
that's
in that
fair,
sense,
and
it's kind of
that's fair to the designer.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, and it's more about giving the platform for people and freelancers like me to fill that kind of validation, whether we need it or not. It's a space for us to do that in a freelancer community. Yeah. And that's why the logo lounge is so amazing, is because it's like it's not an award as such, but it is part of like a book that sort of stands the test of time, and your logos will be printed forever, and there's no greater feeling than that. It's absolutely incredible.
Agree.
And there are awards that I've won that are specifically designed for freelancers, and things like the Logo Wave and Best Brand Awards to award winning. Just
so special.
Yeah, I know. I printed it out at home. My certificate is free. So it's worse. It's worse than that.
Look at this.
I'm going to be really honest now. It's worse than that because it costs so much to send the trophy to Australia. Okay. I've sent it to a local trophy creator to have the award printed and put on plexiglass so I can have it here and hold it. So fuck you guys. I love awards. Here's another thing. Between freelancers and when you're like in the kind of space that I am and dealing with clients that don't have, let's say, the budget to work with someone like me, it just lends a little bit of credibility to the sort of, when you're paying a guy on the other side of the world, it's a big sort of trust thing, right? Yes. And that sort of lends into it as well. So it's one of the reasons actually that I became Adobe certified recently. Like you said before, I don't have a formal design education. I thought, fuck it, I should get something at least that says that I have, the experience and the skills other than my work. especially now that I'm teaching people on social media how to use the software. Let's get Adobe certified, and I took the exam, and in full conditions in my office, and now I have a certificate again that I printed out at home and put in a frame. But it's like as a freelancer, people are throwing money into a bank account for an individual on the other side of the world, and they're not necessarily a company. I am, but it just kind of lends a little bit of trust to that whole thing.
So it's more trust, credibility in that sense. Have they ever asked? Have they ever been like, "Wow, James, you're award winning. What awards did you win?" Or
what awards? Yeah,
they have asked.
No,
they don't. They don't. Okay.
No, they don't care at all. So I could just say it in the lie, but that's it.
Interesting. Okay, no. So definitely are issues, and I think we understand where our issues are. So good on you, and I do agree that any sort of credibility is advantageous, whether you're a freelancer, whether you're an agency, credibility. But we're on the same side.
I'm not going to lie, it feels good. And that's a big part of it. When I work alone and I work from home by myself, and not many people kind of critique my work in terms of colleagues other than clients. And sometimes, it's nice to hear from peers that you have done a good job, whether, who they are or not. And that's another thing I'm big about, is I check the jury, who's actually judging this award, and if I'd actually respect them, then I'm totally going to do it, and that feels better. The Logo Lounge book is Bill Gardner. He's an absolute legend.
Logo Lounge.
His work is and Alan Peters was a judge in this bloody book.
Right.
So if he's seeing my work, I'm like, well, that's it. I'm into that one. So, but like you say, like you said in your episode, actually, the awards where you don't know who these judges are, and these really my peers, and who are they to kind of critique the work? That's a different story. So I do like to check who's actually looking at my work.
It can really play on someone's in their mind and their confidence. We talk about imposter syndrome. I mean, that really can play a number on people. But I'm guessing that's probably, like you just said, it's nice to hear that validation, being that you're working from home. I mean, that has to be a struggle at some point.
Yeah, there's definitely the issues that come with being a freelancer, and I talked about this recently on my socials. You are working alone, and you are isolated, and even more in Australia. All my mates are still back in the UK. I don't have any fucking friends in this country. I do. I'm kidding. But there's those people that I hang out with at the gym, or I play football with. I don't have any sort of design colleagues at all in this space, and so I really get a kick out of this social thing, and I'm building a community around the Instagram and the TikTok following, and even I have a little Discord channel now that when we chat about logo design stuff, and we send each other links and things like that. It's cool. It's like working in an office again, which is something I don't get to do. So, and it's really, really important.
That's cool.
Other thing is taking breaks and going for walks and fucking stupid mental health stuff that you have to do to stay sane and not get burnt out. But it's not as easy as people think.
Is it challenging to work at home knowing that does your wife work from home?
Yeah, she does. Yeah,
and your kids are in your vicinity. Yeah.
They are. So they spend 2 days at home with the childminder who watches them for half a day.
Cool.
So 2 days a week we only work half days, but we both also work evenings because we're dealing with the rest of the world.
Got it.
That's just something I've always done. I always do 7 till 9 or 7 till 10 each night. So I don't know how long that's going to last. And then the kids go into daycare 3 days a week. So I get a normal day, a normal sort of 9 to 5. That's when I kind of get the bulk of my work done. But I do this sort of freelance life is just I love the fact that I get to spend time with the kiddos, and my son at the minute, he's just, if you go no, he goes Batman. He's at the cutest phase of his life right now, and I want to be there around him for this sort of part of his life, obviously forever. But it's great that I get to be so close with them and spend so much time with them, and I'm always there to tuck them in. I'm always there for dinner times and amazing. Breakfast in the morning, and I wouldn't have that any other way. So I don't think I could ever go to a full-time job.
Yeah. So then. No, I mean, again, it sounds great in that sense. I can't poke any holes in this one. Good on you.
I want your life, dude.
Awesome.
But with that being said, social is so damn time consuming, and you do rock at this. Okay, you're on TikTok, you're on Instagram, you're fluttering around in podcasts and stuff, right? And it's all so damn time consuming. I mean,
Yeah.
How do you manage to keep this going, keeping yourself sane? You've got your kids, of course, that you want to be part of. You are working from home where sometimes it's like, I'm sure you'd rather be there, but you're here doing this. Like, how do you not drive yourself nuts? Because this is pretty chaotic, isn't it?
It isn't, because it's all self-fulfilling. Like, everything I do is marketing for my business. Like, I'm not like my social media is all professional, industry related social media. There's no real like personal stuff on there. It's all to do with the business of design, whether that's being a freelancer or learning software tips and tricks. So in my head, I've treated it as like, it's like a mindset thing. 50% of my time is going towards marketing my business. And I see this social media as full-blown marketing, whether that's doing interviews with people like you or creating, reels for TikTok and Instagram. And I kind of trying to stay consistent with it to a point. I try and put out about 3 videos a week, and I've really that's like I often do less than that, but I won't do more than that. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like I kind of have to set a rule on the hours I spend creating content for social media. But at the same time, it's actually, I find it easy because I love talking about graphic design. I've got constant ideas for posts because I'm in the industry still. I'm still doing client work and coming against problems all the time. I'm like, that's hilarious. A client just fell asleep on my live stream because they were watching me animate a logo and they didn't realize that it takes 3 hours to make a 5-second animation for a logo. Like, that's hilarious. Let's make a post about that. And I add it on a list of content ideas that I just kind of work my way through. And that list is like, it's insane. I've got like 50 things I can just make videos about. And then things happen, and I go on podcasts with you guys, and I'll chop this up later, and I'll make a reel out of it, I'm sure, if you let me.
Yes.
So yeah, it's easy. It's like, I find it easy, and it's only gotten easier because I'm getting better at video editing, and I'm getting better with the timing and making them sort of hooking and sort of newsworthy and appealing to like more and more people. I'm getting better and better at it, and it kind of just pays for itself when those leads come in.
Yeah. So with that being said, as a viable lead source, lead magnet, you recommend this to freelancers?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, if I could give myself advice, 5 years ago, I'd be like, get on camera straight away. Like, and I think like I've only really been able to do that because of my experience beforehand, because I have a certain amount of years in the industry. And there are a lot of like people and design influencers out there that are teaching people things, and they've only been working for sort of 2 years. And I'm all for that. I think that's amazing, because it's like the sort of doctor approach, see one, do one, teach one. Yeah. It's like pay that knowledge forward. And this is why the kind of the sort of social media as a design education for people is so powerful now. Everyone's sharing, because by sharing, you're helping people and you're creating value, and you get more out of it, and you get more followers and views from it, which then leads to business, as long as you're kind of set up in the right way.
Yeah.
That's another thing as well. Is like there's a lot of people sharing stuff out there, but they don't actually have their ducks in a row when it comes to actually like winning clients. So yeah, they might be a graphic designer and they've got loads of work, but let's say a client wants to get in touch with them. What happens then? And they're like, oh well, drop me an email. It's like, well, try a bit harder. Get your sort of sales funnel in a row, create landing pages, get your newsletter ready, get everything kind of set up in that respect, and it kind of it's much easier to kind of convert those leads when you've kind of done
everything else in place.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So the differences, what do you find the differences between the two platforms? Because you're primarily TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah. There's not much really. It used to be different. It's quite interesting actually, because obviously people like James Martin, who just like killed it on Instagram for so many years, and he was doing like sort of static image posts. A lot of it was kind of like motivational things, and then TikTok came along and video content started ruling. And then Instagram kind of copied it. Yes. And so Reels became a big thing. And now, like James Martin, I overtook him in followers at one point because my Reels were doing so well. And then he went on the Reels train, and now he's exploded again. So not only is he kind of a motivational, social media influencer, he's also creating great content on video, and his follower account is just absolutely ballooned. Like he overtook me by another 100,000 followers after he started making videos, right? So it's just like testament to the fact that video content is so digestible, and because of TikTok used to be just like under a minute, you had to get your point across really quickly. Yep. And that was kind of like the limiting factor that kind of made things so successful for people like me, because I can explain things pretty succinctly and get my point across pretty quickly. So, there isn't much difference between TikTok and Instagram now in terms of my content. It's basically a duplication across the same thing. Sometimes I'll do a little bit of bonus stuff for TikTok because it feels more behind the scenes, and I probably won't polish the content as much. I'll just get my phone out and just record a quick something and then put it down again. But there's always trying to kind of, give value where I can.
So, okay. So then because obviously everybody who follows us, I'm in there, I'm looking, I'm checking out their posts and such. And it seems like people aren't sure or clear how to actually use these platforms. So if you can, without giving away, your whole process, because I know you have a small paid course about this on your site that I saw.
Yep.
What would you recommend? Where should they start? What kind of stuff should they post, in your opinion?
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm not a gatekeeper. I do have a course about that, but it was something I created for a public speaking gig I got last year, and I was just sort of testing the waters with the course. I'm going to give that away for free, and I've done live streams about editing TikToks for sort of viral reels and videos, and that's free on Adobe Live, so you can go check that out right now. First and foremost, find your niche and stick to it, so the people that are coming to you are actually getting more of the same content and more of what they expect, and it's not kind of bouncing around all over the place. And then write a script is the biggest piece of advice I can give when it comes to creating video content. Is write a bloody script. You'll hear from this podcast, it's lots of ums and lots of ahs. You don't get your point across very quickly. Writing a script basically helps me. I think I write pretty well, and so I can get the point across faster, read from a script, cut that footage together, and it kind of fits 3 minutes into 40 seconds, and that's immediately kind of a juicy.
So your posts are all based off a script that you wrote, so you're not missing out the point.
Yep,
good job.
Absolutely.
Good job.
Yeah.
You had me.
If I didn't do that, it would be all over the place, and there would be no sort of arc to the structure of the content. It would be way less engaging, and it would also take longer because I couldn't get to the point quick enough. So open up Illustrator and go to View and where is it again? And by actually scripting it, I can actually just read off those lines. I don't have to memorize anything because I'm reading one line at a time to the camera, and then I just cut that footage together, and that just totally works. Cool. It makes the content way more punchy, and you can treat it like a story. You can actually write it out and get a feel for how it's actually going to sound to people.
Cool.
So that's really, really worked for me. Yeah, everything that you see on my reels is scripted for sure.
All right, so write a script, right? You've got your platform, and then you're recommending more of them go to video, because everybody just posts. Some of our people have reels, but I'm seeing most of it is just posts.
Yeah, on Instagram for sure. I think someone gave me good advice on this, is that treat the video as the first part of the content process, because everything else can come from video. If it's a longer piece of content, you can be a YouTube video, which you could then cut down into an Instagram or a TikTok reel, which you could then succinctly write and pull out bullet points from that content into a carousel post and maybe treat it as a piece of imagery, or then write a blog post on that. So video is kind of like the start point for the kind of content process, and you can get so much juicy stuff out of it as well. I don't do much static stuff anymore on Instagram. It's pretty much all video. So yeah, and when it's comes to case studies, I just make sure that the cover photo is really good. So my grid on Instagram looks nice and pretty. It's not just thumbnails of me going halfway through saying something. It's actually customized, and I actually treat it with a bit of care. So the grid looks good, which then leads to a follow usually.
Cool. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. So with all this, you've built this, you've got this. Where are you going to be in 1 to 3 years? Where are you taking this? What's next? I know you saw that, and that's a hard one, right?
Yeah, It is hard. I honestly don't know. I don't have a plan. It's a terrible.
Well, again, you've been going so fast. How the hell can you? Wow.
It's starting to settle down a bit. The main answer is to squeeze more money out of it. I only do this content is to further my business, and I've hit a point now where I constantly have a 3-month backlog of jobs to work through, and that's incredible. But it also limits my income. I want to do more of the teaching side of things. I really enjoy passing the knowledge on, and people saying, you've actually helped me loads, and that is so fulfilling. You wouldn't believe. I think I'll retire and become a teacher one day, because I enjoy passing the knowledge on so much. It's huge. But at the same time, I have to keep doing the client work in order to keep my skills fresh. Fair. Otherwise, I'll just fall by the wayside too quickly. And half of my stuff is like software tricks, and being faster in the Adobe packages. And I'm on the like sort of front line with the client work, and I think that's one of the reasons why I've been so successful. So I definitely think like more of the teaching side of things, and a little bit more of the sort of public speaking as well. I'd love to sort of get out there and meet more people, because like you say, like the freelance nature of the business, I'm in my office all the time alone. Nice. I'd love to actually do a bit more networking. So maybe I need to move from Australia.
Is that in the future?
What's it like in Canada? Can I come over there?
Jeez, it's so cold.
Actually,
it's a great country.
I need to talk to you.
Yeah.
I have been to Waterloo, Kitchener multiple times.
No.
What?
Okay. I looked you guys up when I found out I was coming on the podcast, and I found out where your offices are. My uncle co-owns a bar 15 minutes from your office in Waterloo. It's called McMullen's. I have family in Canada, and they live in the Waterloo Kitchener area. I've been thrown out of a bar in Waterloo, actually, for singing "Wish You Were Here" by Pink Floyd too loud. My cousin's a guitarist, and he was playing a gig, and I was celebrating a bit too hard and got kicked out.
Oh my god, that's amazing, dude!
Incredible, yeah. So I've been to Waterloo a few times, and I love it absolutely. Always in the summer though. I've never been in the cold.
Well,
so
again, I don't know if you want to have to.
Am I missing much?
Yeah, you know what? Actually, you get used to it. You get used to it, and then you look forward to it. So now it's like, we got snow to our waist. We're bundled up. Our vehicles are all, they all go up on four wheels and look like four.
Yeah,
you just get used to it.
That's why we have these bastards to keep us warm.
Keep our faces warm.
A bit of insulation.
Yeah, right. Geez, dude, if you ever come up, you've got to let us know, man.
Oh, I'll be back.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
Oh,
for sure.
100%, dude.
For sure. My cousin's a professional soccer player. He plays for Forge FC. He's a former Canadian footballer. He's way more famous than me. So I'm always living in his bloody shadow. And typically I'm fucking talking about him on your podcast now. I'm bigging him up. Jesus Christ.
That's amazing.
Fucking guy. Yeah.
He's still there.
But yeah.
Here's my moment. No, it's not.
That's his again.
Yeah, he's up next. We're gonna
we got him.
Don't joke.
Oh God! Well, it goes without saying, dude. We'll have it right when you do come back. So come back for sure.
That would be awesome.
For sure, we'll do.
Oh shit! All right. Well, you know what? We've taken enough of your time. It's late. You got to sleep sometime soon. But we are going to finish this off in our classic. We're going to give you a lightning round questions, okay? Just so people get an idea of, where your tastes sit, right? It's crazy. Right. And you know what these are like. And so you're going to have 2 minutes, and you're going to answer all these questions. Don't think too much, okay? And you're going to put this on for 2 minutes? Sure. Dun, dun,
it's timed.
It's timed. You ready? So the pressure's on. If it's not, then you're going to take all day. Man, when James was on here, he hummed and hawed on this one question.
So you want me to go quick? I got to go quick.
Well, first one that comes to mind. Ready?
All right.
Ready, sir?
Okay. Are you ready? Are you ready, James?
Yeah. Let's go.
All right.
Here we go.
Mac or PC?
Mac.
Favorite music?
Oh, you bearded guy, ZZ Top.
Oh, no. Good man.
No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
Oh.
It's just because I beard.
That was rude. That was mean.
Broke my heart.
We're done now. We're done. Favorite color?
End of lightning round.
Favorite color?
Favorite color? Oh, black.
Favorite car?
Oh, it's a shade, isn't it? Fuck you guys. Purple.
Oh, it's color.
Favorite cartoon?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes. Favorite children's cartoon that doesn't make you want to kill yourself?
Oh, God. Oh, Bluey.
Oh, nice.
Australian.
Good. Yeah.
Have you heard of that?
Favorite collectible?
Oh, Theory 11 playing cards.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Favorite superhero?
Yeah. Thor. Because I'm in love with Chris Hemsworth. I've got a proper crush on Chris Hemsworth.
It's validated. Yeah, who doesn't? Who's Marty McFly?
Oh, Back to the Future.
Man. What's Quark Express?
Oh, it's what my art director used before I used InDesign.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
What Aussie children's show makes you want to rip your ears off more? The Wiggles or Bananas in Pajamas?
Oh, God. Oh, they're both great. They're awesome. My kids are well into Bananas in Pajamas, so we'll have to go with Wiggles.
All right. Puppies or kittens?
Puppies.
Pirates or ninjas?
Ninjas.
Favorite?
Well, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, boy.
Ninjas.
Favorite graphic designer? Past or present?
Alan Peters.
Okay. Favorite artist?
Kiss the mouse now. Oh, Jesus. Fucking hell. It's probably like Liechtenstein.
Oh, very cool.
Because of like the pop art thing, yeah.
All right. Favorite font right now?
Futura PT Bold.
Whoa, really? A
He's on
good
everything.
old throwback.
I'm obsessed with it.
Serif or non-serif?
Sans serif.
Illustrator or Photoshop?
I'm going to go with Photoshop because it's my boy. It's where I got my start.
It's going to be limited with Adobe Firefly. Okay.
It is, isn't it?
Magic Mouse.
Spitting out vector art in Photoshop.
Magic Mouse or MX Master 3S?
Fucking, you guys have been watching too many of my videos. MX Master 3. Without a shadow of a doubt, because I can charge the fucking thing and still use it. There we go.
Magazine or tablet?
Magazine.
True or false? Newsprint is dead.
False. It's got some life in it yet.
True or false? AI will replace graphic designers one day.
False.
Yes.
Attaboy. What is your guilty pleasure?
The casino.
That is a guilty pleasure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Superpower of choice.
Teleportation.
Okay, cool.
The guy from Looper that can break into bank vaults and stuff.
Very cool.
Yeah. That one.
Okay, who'd win in a fight? The Rolling Stones or AC/DC?
God. I'm going to go with Stones because I reckon Mick Jagger's got like some reach on him. He looks like gangly and he's got a bit of like long
Dude's
arms.
not human, so I mean, he can't die. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Best
Doesn't
video
feel
game
pain.
console ever?
N64.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
And one
GoldenEye.
thing that always makes you angry.
People not indicating on roundabouts when they want to turn right. This is going to confuse you because we're driving the other side of the road. People turn right on roundabouts. They indicate to turn right, and then they don't flick their switch off. So you think that they're going to keep going round, and so you sit there like a mug, waiting as they peel off to the right of you, and then the people behind you start honking because you haven't gone, and you're like, oh fucking hell.
That was
I got worked up.
oddly
I
specific,
got worked up
though.
talking about
Good
that.
on you. Yeah.
Jesus.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
I'm going to say this, and my Australian cohorts will hate me, but Australians can't use roundabouts. They just don't know how, and it drives me mental.
Well, I guess coming from the UK,
Sorry.
everybody does, don't they?
Yeah.
Always the world of roundabouts.
Whoops.
Sweet, dude. All right, you went over a little bit, but okay, you know what? They were all really good answers, so good on you. Good on you.
Thank you.
Mr.
Thanks
James,
for giving me a
this
bit of leeway.
has been awesome, dude. It was worth waking up at 5 a.m. to make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
For the bags.
It's worth staying up till 11 p.m.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's
There you
good.
go.
And you're not going to be rid of us, of course, because I'm going to, still
Yeah.
harass you on social. I mean, this has been really fun, and honestly, nothing but. I wish you the most success and luck. You've earned everything that you've gotten so far. So good on you. Like your content's good.
Thanks a lot.
You are legitimate. You are authentic. Your presence online is it's refreshing. It's
Thank
You rival Alan
cry.
Peters for being the nicest graphic designer ever.
Whoa.
I'm serious.
That's some big
guys.
talk
See?
there. I'm going to tell him what you said. now.
Yeah. Oh, he's gonna hate on
Yeah,
that.
that's amazing.
No, he's
Thank you very
Owen
much.
got reach too. Now he's gonna kick our ass.
Fuck you up.
Yeah.
He's got Jesus on his side as well. He'd be fucked if Alan haters, seriously, this has been amazing. And like I say, when I get to Canada, we can actually have a drink.
Dude, we'll
and,
hang out.
do it in
Oh my
person, 'cause
God.
I will be back. I will definitely be back in Waterloo, Kitchener at some point. So I'll come say hello.
Oh my God, that is so amazing. Wow, I can't believe that. That's hilarious.
Go to McMullen's and say hello to my Uncle Kev.
Yeah, right.
He'll give you
Absolutely.
a pint on me.
All right, buddy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody, I hope you guys all had enjoyed this as much as we have. This has been great. There's been so much amazing information that I'm sure so many of you can take for yourselves. And it just makes this dude that much more human. I think, which is what we kind of love so much. So, with that being said, my name's Massimo,
And my name's Sean.
and you are. Oh, and he's frozen.
He's frozen. Oh no.
All right. Well, with that being said, he's James Barnard.
He's James Barnard.
Stay creative.
And stay angry.